Johnson County Ambulance. JCAS 2-4. Respond to penetrating trauma. At
Go ahead.
You're good to approach. Multiple stab wounds confirmed by the victim. They advise no pulse at this time.
26 copies. JCOM 26 is on scene.
What if the person you trusted most could suddenly become the center of a terrifying story? Tonight, investigators are claiming that a husband may have planned an attack against his wife, not in a moment of rage, but with careful intent. It's a claim that forces us to ask, how well do we really know the people closest to us? And how far can control, resentment, and obsession reach before it turns into irreversible harm? Stay with me, because the details uncovered so far paint a picture far more complex than a single incident. They reveal the hidden dynamics of trust, power, and human behavior. Why this case refuses to be forgotten. Some events shock a community. Others make an entire country stop and wonder, how safe are the people we trust most? According to investigators, what began like a routine domestic disturbance quickly transformed into something much darker. Signs of premeditation appeared, not just emotions running high. This wasn't chaos, it was methodical, according to authorities, and that distinction changes everything because it's no longer just about an argument or a loss of temper. It's about planning, intent, and decisions that put another human life at risk. The image of a normal life. From the outside, the couple seemed ordinary. They shared a home, a routine, and a life that raised no alarms. Neighbors saw nothing unusual. Friends described them as normal. No public fights, no obvious warning signs. And that's what made what happened inside so striking, because investigators say the danger wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was invisible until it manifested in a moment that could have been catastrophic. The night everything changed. According to authorities, the incident happened inside the couple's home, a place meant to represent safety and trust. There was no forced entry, no intruder, no sign that anyone outside had interfered. Investigators allege that the husband carried out an attack in a way that suggested careful planning. The act was precise, targeted, personal. It left the victim with very little room to protect herself or escape. By the time emergency responders arrived, the situation had already escalated beyond a spontaneous altercation. Evidence that spoke louder than words. Police arriving on scene encountered unsettling signs. There were indicators that the incident was not random. Injuries appeared deliberate. The scene suggested careful actions rather than panic. The victim's survival depended on rapid intervention. Investigators point out that these patterns suggested control and intention, not a momentary loss of temper. It's the kind of evidence that shapes how cases are understood in court. The victim, surviving against all odds. The wife suffered serious injuries. Doctors later described her survival as extraordinary. Every second mattered. Every decision by first responders made a difference. Her survival allowed investigators to piece together what happened, and it provided a voice that could guide the legal process. Without her testimony, the case would be far less clear. Her endurance is a reminder that victims are not only witnesses, they are central to uncovering the truth. The husband's initial account. When questioned, authorities say the husband initially described the incident as a sudden argument, a moment that spiraled out of control. He suggested the events weren't planned, that it was a crime of impulse. But investigators found inconsistencies in his story. Small details didn't match the scene, timelines seemed off, and the nature of the injuries raised questions about intent. Details that didn't add up. Authorities began noticing patterns. Timing and sequence of events were inconsistent with a spontaneous act. The location and handling of objects suggested forethought. The type of injuries indicated intentional targeting. Investigators describe these details as pointing toward careful planning, not a sudden escalation. And that realization fundamentally shifted the approach to the case. Objects as evidence. The object allegedly used in the attack became a focal point for investigation. Authorities examined how it was accessed, handled, and potentially concealed. Actions like these, they say, reveal more than words can. They provide insight into state of mind, control, and intent. It's a reminder that in criminal cases, everyday items can become silent witnesses. Digital footprints and preparation. As the investigation expanded, detectives examined digital activity. They reportedly uncovered online behaviors suggesting long-term focus and curiosity, not just reactive emotion. These findings contributed to the narrative that planning may have begun well before the incident itself. Investigators often rely on this type of digital trail to understand the context and potential premeditation behind actions. Relationship, dynamics, and escalation. Authorities report that the relationship showed signs of strain over time. Increasing arguments, tension surrounding control, emotional pressure building gradually. Nothing overtly alarming, yet enough to indicate a slow buildup that could escalate to serious harm. Investigators note that many incidents involving premeditation don't erupt suddenly. They build quietly until a threshold is crossed. The moment investigators suspected planning. As detectives confronted the husband with evidence, details in his account reportedly shifted. Timelines blurred, explanations changed, certainty disappeared. This pattern signaled to investigators that the incident may have been premeditated rather than an impulsive act. From that moment, the focus shifted from reaction to deliberate intent. Legal consequences and charges. The husband was arrested and faces serious charges: attempted murder, aggravated assault with a dangerous object, premeditated violent conduct. Authorities argue that the incident was not spontaneous. Court documents repeatedly describe the actions as planned. The use of the word planned is significant because it frames the legal approach and the seriousness of the alleged offense. Why investigators believe this was no accident. Several indicators reinforced the belief in premeditation. The victim was caught off guard. The sequence continued until outside intervention. No evidence suggested an external threat. Actions indicated purpose and precision. Patterns, investigators note, rarely lie. And these details shaped the direction of the legal case. Psychology behind control and betrayal. Experts describe attacks of this nature as often rooted in desire for dominance, fear of losing control, obsessive focus on the partner, resentment that escalates quietly over time. By the time an incident occurs, the decision may have already been made. The act itself becomes the final step in a process of control. The victim's testimony. Survival provided a crucial witness account. Her testimony allows investigators and prosecutors to clarify intent and sequence. She experienced events firsthand, offering insight that no physical evidence alone could provide. Her perspective is central, not only for legal resolution but for understanding the dynamics that led to the incident. Public reaction and discussion. The case has sparked widespread debate. How often are warning signs missed? How many individuals experience unseen threats in supposedly safe environments? How can systems better protect vulnerable people? The story has reignited conversations about domestic safety and early intervention. Next steps in the legal process. The case will proceed through the courts. Evidence will be examined. Witnesses will testify. A jury will evaluate the credibility of accounts and the patterns of behavior presented. Regardless of the outcome, the lessons about observation, vigilance, and awareness remain relevant. The bigger lesson behind this incident. This is more than a story about one household. It highlights how power dynamics, planning, and subtle escalation can turn private relationships into life-threatening situations. Even when the person involved survives, the implications for trust, safety, and justice are profound when trust becomes a risk. According to investigators, this incident wasn't spontaneous. It was deliberate, calculated, and executed with awareness. It reminds us that human behavior is complex, and appearances can be deceiving. Trust can be manipulated, relationships can conceal danger, and awareness is critical. So now it's your turn. Do you believe this was a calculated plot, or do you think it escalated in the moment? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this breakdown resonated, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more analyses of cases that reveal hidden patterns in human behavior. Because some stories are more than incidents, they're warnings, and we'll continue uncovering them. Do you want me to do that?